number 1, we need the 6th term. So we're going to take the exponent, so 9 choose 5. We're going to write the first unit and the second unit, and I'm going to move that to a negative exponent to the top. And now I'm going to write the matching number there, and then what's left between 9 and 5 is a 4. Now 9 choose 5 is, in my calculator, 126. I'm going to have to make sure I do the 3 to the 4th, which is 81. And exponent to exponent, I multiply. Negative 1 to a 5th is negative, and an x to the negative 15. So I'm going to multiply those 3 digits together, so 126 times 81 times a negative 1. And then I'm going to add the exponents. This time for exponent times a base exponent times another base exponent, you add, which is 1. So I'm going to leave it. We have a 4th term that is that. Determine the value of q. Okay, so if I was to set this up, the first thing would be that it would have been a 10 exponent, choose 3. And then the first unit, the second unit, I'm going to write with a negative 1 exponent. So this always matches that. And then the subtraction is that. Okay, so 10 choose 3s in my calculator, 120 times a q to the 7th. I don't know what it is, but I would have to do it to a 7th, and x 14. Negative 3 cubed is negative 27, x to the negative 3. So right now I'm going to put the 120 and the negative 27 and the q 7th together. So that's negative 3,240 q to the 7th. X to the, and then I'm going to put the 14 plus the negative 3, so 11th. Okay, so I already have that x to 11th, so I need this coefficient to match that coefficient. So I need negative 3240 q 7th to equal this coefficient. So I'm going to divide. So q to the 7th is negative 128. So if I 7th root this, I get q to be negative 2. The last term. Okay, so we know there are 8 terms. So we're finding the 8th term. So 7 choose, so the 8th term means I'm going to choose a 7. The first unit is a 2y, negative 3x is the second. So this always matches that. And then this matches the subtraction, so 0. So 7 choose 7 is 1. Anything to the 0 is 1. And then negative 3 to the 7th. So that's the final answer. Evaluate the coefficient of the term containing x cubed. Okay, so x cubed is what we want to end up with. And we had no x's in the first, and we had an x1 in the second unit. And so I don't know what value this is. So I'm going to call it a k, and this would be 7 minus a k. Okay, now if I times that, it makes 0. And then this would make k. So I'm basically forgetting about that, because x is 0, that's 1. So k is going to have to equal 3, therefore the fourth term. So I need the fourth term, so the coefficient of that. Okay, so 7, choose 3, because that's the fourth term. I'm going to have a 1, I'm going to have an x. So this is a 3 to match that, and this is a 4 to subtract. So 7, choose 3 in your calculator. Is 35. 1 to the fourth is still 1, and then x cubed. So 35x cubed ends up being a term, but I just want the coefficient, so 35. Determine the third term. Okay, so I'm going to do 8 exponent, choose 2, and then 3 to the x to the negative 2, I'm going to move that, and then negative 4x fifth, I'm going to just write it as I see it. This number is on top, this is the subtraction. Okay, so 8 choose 2 in my calculator is 28. 3 to the 6th is 729, x negative 12. Negative 4 squared, that's positive 16, x to the 10th. Okay, I'm going to multiply 28, 729, and 16. And then I'm going to add the exponent numbers, so x to the negative 2. And I'm also okay leaving it and or changing it. Those would mean the same thing. In this binomial, the sixth term contains an x to the 25th. Solve for n. Okay, so we have an x to the 25th. Where did that come from? It came from x squared, negative squareds in that unit, and it came from x fifths in that unit. The sixth term means that k is 5, your choosing number. So then this would have been a 5, and this is the exponent minus 5. Okay, so exponent to an exponent makes negative 2n plus 10. Exponent to an exponent makes 25. Now I'm going to add, so negative 2n plus 35. Now I'm going to conclude if the bases are both x, these values need to equal each other. So I'm going to minus 35 and divide by negative 2, and I get n equal to 5. Question 6, simplify the sixth term. So 10, choose 5. 2x in brackets, negative 3x, negative 2. I'm going to move that. So this will match. This would be the exponent of that subtracted. So we have calculator 10, choose 5, 252. 2 to the 5th is 32 x5. Negative 3 to the 5th, that'll be negative. And then it would be 243 x to the negative 10. This times this times this as the number. And then on the x's, I will add the exponents together, so negative 5. You could also have written your answer with the exponent moved to the bottom. Number 7, simplify the 7th term. So 10 exponent, choose 6. 7th term means to choose 6. 3x negative 2, that's the first unit. Here's the second unit. So this will match the outside exponent. This exponent will be the subtraction. So in my calculator, that's 210. 3 to the 4th is 81. X to the negative 8, multiply the exponents. And here, negative 1 to the 6th is positive 1. And then x to the 30. So those three numbers getting multiplied together. And then adding the exponents together on the x. For number 8, determine which term contains the x cubed. So where does the x cubed come from? It comes from x to the negative 3 in the first unit and an x squared in the second unit. So I don't know which term, so I don't know that number on that exponent. And then this exponent is if I subtracted. So when I do this, I would multiply. So negative 27 plus 3k. And I'm going to multiply, so 2k. Then when I do this rule, I will add the exponents. Now, because the bases are the same, I can conclude the exponents are the same. So to solve this, I'm going to add 27 and divide by 5. So that doesn't answer my question. So if k is 6, which term is it? So you're going to be answer 7th term. Because you have k is always one less. Number 9, determine the 4th term. So exponent 8, choose 3. 2x to the 4th is the first unit, and a negative 3y is the second unit. 3 will go on the outside exponent. The inside exponent is subtracted. So on my calculator, this is a 56. 2 to the 5th is a 32. X to the 20, because I multiply that. Negative 3 cubed is negative 27. And a y cubed. Then those three digits are going to get multiplied together. So negative 48,000. $384. And I can't put x's and y's together. So that's as simple as I can get it. Determine which term contains a 1 over x to the 6th. In other words, an x to the negative 6 in that. Okay, so where does the x to the negative 6 come from? X to the negative 3 in the first unit and an x squared in the second unit. Which term I don't know, so I don't know k. And this is the subtracted exponent, so 7 minus k. I'm going to multiply, so negative 21 plus 3k. And I'm going to multiply, so 2k. Here I'm going to add the exponents together. And since the base is x on both sides, the exponents will have to equal each other. So here I'm going to add 21. So k equals 3. So therefore, which term is that? It's the fourth term. In the binomial, determine the middle term. So there's going to be 9 terms. So that means the fifth term is right in the middle. Okay, so we're going to go 8, choose 4. And then x squared is the first unit. -2, y -1 is the second unit. This will match. This will be the subtraction exponent. Okay, now it's calculator. 8, choose 4 is 70. X to the 8th. -2 to the 4th will be positive. So that will be a 16. Y to the -4. So 70 times 16 can be put together. X and y cannot be put together. You could also move the y to the bottom like so, either one. Identify which of these represents the fifth term. So the fifth term, you better be doing a 15, choose 4. Okay, so it could be this one or this one. And the first unit, the second unit, this will always match on the outside exponent, and this will be the subtraction. So therefore, that should be D. Identify the fourth term in this expansion. Okay, so fourth term, I'm going to do Pascal's here. Okay, so if I think about expanding this, it'll be a 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, and 1. This will have x5, this would have x4, x3, x2, x1, no x. This will have no y, a y, y2, y3, y4, and y5. Everything's plus, so we don't have to do anything different with these signs. So the fourth term, 1, 2, 3, 4, is that C. Okay, you also could have done 5, choose 3, x, y, this is a 3, this is the subtraction. So either way to think about it gets you there. In the binomial expansion, the fifth term contains an x to the 7th, so we need n. So where does the x to the 7th come from? It comes from the first term using x -3 and the second term x to the 7th. The fifth term, so therefore the k, the choosing number, would be 4. And then this would be n subtract 4. So I'm going to multiply those exponents, so -3n plus 12. Multiply those exponents. Then I'm going to add the exponents with the same base. So if the bases are the same, the conclusion is the exponents are the same. Now I'm going to minus 40 here. So 7 minus 40 is negative 33. So dividing makes 11. So that is the exponent. Determine and simplify the sixth term. So in exponent 9, choose 5. The first unit is a 2x negative 2. The second unit is a negative 1x cubed. This 5 will match that exponent. This exponent would be the subtraction. In my calculator, the choose is a 126. 2 to the 4th is 16. Negative 8 is that exponent. Negative 1 to the 5th is still negative. Multiply those 3 digits, makes negative 2016. Add the exponents on the x, make a 7. Question 16, the 12th term. So the exponent 12, choose 11. The first unit, the second unit, so I'm going to leave the coefficient as negative 1/2, and I'm going to write an x to the negative 2 beside it. So I separated the value of the coefficient and the variable there. So negative 1/2 is the variable, and x negative 2 is the exponent piece. So this will have an 11, and this would have a 1. Okay, so 12 choose 11 is 12. This would just be x cubed. So a negative value to the 11th is negative. 1 to the 11th is 1. 2 to the 11th is 2048. And then x to the negative 22. So timesing these numbers makes a negative 12 over the 2048. Adding the variables makes an x to the negative 19. Okay, or you could write negative 12 over, and then move the x to the 19th onto the bottom. Or you could reduce the 12 and 2048 can obviously be divided. So let's go with a negative 3 over, okay, lots of different ones there. Given this is the sixth term, determine m. Okay, so if we have the sixth term, we're going to be doing a 7 choose 5. We're going to have the first unit, the second unit. This will be a 5, and this will be a 2. So 7 choose 5 is 21. 3 squared is 9. And I don't know this, so okay, I'm going to do this times by each other. So 21 times 9 is 189x squared. Okay, so I need that to equal that. So I'm going to divide by 189x squared. So x squareds would go away. So this would equal negative 32 y to the 5th equals negative m to the 5th. Okay, so I need some kind of value to the 5th to turn into 32. So I'm going to need a negative 2 y that would be what I need. But because I'm subtracting that, I would need to say that m equals 2y. Okay, and I guess I could say, maybe this would be better here. So negative m to the 5th. And I could divide by negative 1. And then that shows me that. So let's get that out of there. Determine and simplify the 8th term. So exponent 10. So 10, choose 7. First unit is x, negative 2x, negative 3 is the second unit. 7 matches the outside. The subtracted exponent is inside. 10, choose 7 is 120. And then this is x cubed. Negative 2 to the 7th will be negative. 128, x to the negative 21. So those two digits multiplied is negative 15,360. X to the add, so 3 minus 21 is negative 18. Or we could move that to the bottom to show you it's a positive integer.